Let's get it on. Man, let's get it on. Alright, family, we about to toast. We about to toast. We about to toast. We about to toast. Sent out the black signal. Sent out the black signal. Hopefully you got it. We are starting. I am making sure we are streaming on all cylinders. My app is telling me we are live. But y'all know it took a couple of seconds for us to get everything together. So while y'all doing that, be sure to grab your glass. Shouts out to Miss Stephanie Jackson. Thank you for the like. Miss Stephanie M. Jackson. Thank you for the likes. You out there, share your tribe. Great day to you, great day. We're about to get up. Hold on. Everything is moving smoothly today. Yeah, I'm still working on the shoes, family. Lord have mercy. My feet. So I'm waiting for the next size to come. So I think I'm going to have to pass these on to one of my smaller foot compatriots. Compatriots, I guess that's how you would say it. Because these shoes, God damn, I came home the other day, my feet couldn't. Then last night. So we're working on the process at the school, and it's taking a lot of energy, because it's like you start realizing certain things. And I don't know, I run into this every so often in the field that I'm in. And I run into a realization, and I don't know if it's a realization or frustration, where it's like, brother, you wasting your time. I don't know, am I alone in feeling like this? Sometime, when you are pursuing certain things, you begin to feel overwhelmed and start feeling as if you're wasting your time. And and if you're not on your shit, and if you don't remember who you are, where you are, why you are, and it's times like this where I have to remember whose story I'm going through. When you run into those characters in the story that are kind of a puzzle, you don't know who they are. It's very frustrating because they popping up in the story and you don't understand who they are. And you're so involved with the story that you forget whose story it is. And I get this sometimes. And every now and then, I have to find something that could remind me whose story it is. And I think, because I know a lot of people be like, well, I tell you do the folk tales for kids. Folk tales is for kids. And why you all into these stories? And, I could pick up and read a story, or I follow stories. I follow the stories because I understand the power of a narrative. But every now and then, with me getting involved with all these stories, I sometimes forget whose story I'm involved with. I know the story of Heru, or the story of Jesus, or the story of the saw I, the stories of Aesop, Brer Rabbit tales, you know, the new age stories with that's popping up on TV, the comic book stories. But oftentimes, in my frustration, I have to step back and remember whose story I'm involved with. And I noticed that when I forget whose story I'm involved with, I will act outside the narrative. Shouts out to you, Brother Kwame. Out, you know what I'm saying? Not even act outside the narrative. I might turn into a different character in the story because I done forgot whose story I'm in. And I think part of the thing that keep us locked in to this madness is that we get confused and we forget whose story we are in. And you know, one of the things I'm trying to get people to understand is in defining these Aesop fables and defining these proverbs, we're not looking for truth for others. We're looking for truth for ourselves. So in essence, when we forget whose story we in, it's easy for us to get lost. We are involved in the greatest story ever told. Shouts out to Mr. Navina Nelson. Great morning to you. And that story that you're involved in is yours. And when you start giving your story or acting as a secondary character in your own story, that's when the frustration, at least for me, starts setting in because I done forgot whose story I'm involved with. And I start getting caught up in other people's story. And because I'm caught in other people's story, I get caught up in their madness. And I get frustrated. So I come home and I have to lay down so that I can go into a dream world in a sense to be like, damn. I allow somebody else's story to take me. And whether we know it or not, the story that most of us act upon was written by somebody else, by some other group. And we never get our power back until we start living our story. Remembering who we are, where we are, why we are. And try to help other people realize, yo, you involved in your story, not somebody else's story. Right? So, let's go and do this toast. I need to get ready because I got to take Cleve to school this morning. I also need to get, because you know I'm an ironer. I know a lot of y'all don't iron. I know y'all don't. I can see it. You know, I'm one of those rare ones that believe in picking up an iron and pressing out the problems. Those wrinkles, and you know, those wrinkles represent a problem to me, and I feel that when I'm physically doing something and not turning it over to a machine just to turn, like y'all can hear the dryer in the background now if you listen closely, turning it over to the dryer. When I get close and personal with those wrinkles, it does something for me. It's like a therapy. Once again, it helps rock me back into the story that's most important. Because family, when we don't live our story, we rob the world. It's that simple. We rob the world. Because, I mean, not living your story can guide you to do all types of self-destructive things. And in Gye-Nyame, you know what I'm saying, part of it is challenging you. Get your courage up. Live your story. Because it's yours. It belongs to you. It was given to you. or is given to you to make. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm getting hyped again. I'm feeling it. So it's time for us to, first off, I want to welcome you to the congregation of the mighty, the home of the stubborn minority, the place where your hustle builds muscle. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. I am your host, Brother Hatim. This is the Daily Toast. And of course, this is the Heart of a Simmer production, where we strive to blow up your old paradigms. You ready to breathe, family? Drink your water. Come on, drink your water, but first, take your breath and drink some water. Take that breath and drink some water. Take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath and drink. Or should I say, breathe, then drink. Take that breath. Head right. Now grab your glass for that water. Get that picture of that water. Lift that picture of that water. Simply pour some water. Drink. Or should I say, live, pour, then drink. Now move your body and drink some water. Stretch it out. Move your body, drink some water. Oh. Move your body, drink some water. Oh. Family, move your body. Drink. Or should I say, move, then drink. Now, raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Now raise your glass and toast your ancestors, fam. Just raise your glass. Drink. Or should I say, live, toast, then drink. Just take your breath and drink some water. Lift and pour yourself some water. Move your body, drink some water. Raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Breathe, live, move, toast. And once again, I remind you about those 4 pillars. Listen. Breathe, drink, eat, move. 4 pillars. Get healthy. Whole life, right? Take your breath. Lift and pour. Move your body. Toast your ancestors. Drink up. Take your breath. Lift and pour. Move your body. Toast your ancestors. Alright, family, for those that are new, we start off with the song. I know y'all like, man, you too old to be singing, but that's actually a meditation movement thing, right? I'm challenging you to take one of the most important things that you could ever take first, right? I'm surrounding it with drinking your water because in my short little research and some of the stuff that I run into, I'm constantly reading and finding out and seeing in real life that a lot of my people are sick because they are dehydrated. Let me say that again. Many of the ailments that we're going to the doctors and they are billing our insurance, making some of us have to go and mortgage our houses and borrow money so that we could pay the co-pay or pay for some of the ailments we have, are starting because our body is reacting to the fact that we're not drinking enough water. So a song emerged out of the process of doing this thing that I'm doing, starting off with the term drink your water. Every day, whether it's early in the morning, during the weekdays when I'm going to my adventure, or on the weekends when you could catch me, I'm trying to remind you, taking a very important step before you even drink your water. I'm telling you to take the number one most important thing for you to take in the daytime. It's not the medicine that the doctor prescribes you. It's not the tobacco or the weed. It's not the alcohol. It's not the drama that somebody in your house might bring to you. I'm telling you to take the most important thing, and that's the breath. In many cultures, the breath, I ain't gonna say even every culture, the breath is topmost importance. You'll see different exercises and different rituals that will cause an individual to breathe in a different way and to take notice of the breath. And in many spiritual traditions, the breath was the first thing after the body was formed, that the body was given, was air. Not just air, but the what we call the ashe in the air, or the Chinese call it chi, or the Japanese call it the ki, or the Indians call it the prana. West Africa, they say ashe, and there's other words, and you'll find words for this life energy that comes out of the breath that you can consciously extract when you move beyond just mechanically breathing and move to putting some thought into the breath. So I add to my song, make sure you take your breath. So really, please understand that before we ever move to even talking about our ancestors, we are taking care of ourselves, moving in our narrative with what I started off with. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a silly, fun thing, but it's a very serious thing because I'm getting sick of losing friends and even enemies. Not the enemies so much, but losing people because we're not doing the basics. Water and breath. Can it be any more simple? Water and breath. Next important is that diet, culturally appropriate. I'm not here to tell you to put down that candy bar you might be chomping on right now while you're looking at me, but I am here to challenge you to start adding some cultural elements to your diet. I don't think people really understand. We look at culture. We look at culture as clothing. We look at culture as religion, some of us. We look at culture and all of these little boxes, when in fact it's the culture that surrounds us and protects us. It's because of the culture that we have been able to move through and survive what we survived. It was something in that culture that made it possible for us to move on from generation to generation, because the culture is a living thing and it lives through you. It lives through you and with you. And the culture is designed to protect the people. I know right now a lot of us is looking at the culture that we have here, and we can see some of the toxic elements. This is why another aspect of the toast is, I ask you that when we get to the moment to seek out your principles, because our principle, our culture is still active in us, and it's hard to see it because we have been taught not to look for it. That's a damn shame. So we're going to about do this toast. What's the date today? 1/16/24. Oh. What is that? Alright, cool, forget it. Alright, let's do another one. Anyway. Oh, maybe it's full. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of some of these. It's ridiculous. But anyway, so let's move on. And it's, it's very simple, but, a lot of us aren't doing these things. So, what I am doing, for those that are new, this is my ambrosia, make my own health drink. When we toast our ancestors, we're toasting our ancestors with a drink that's going to help us. Because we do our ancestors no good if we ain't healthy, right? We do our ancestors no good if we're not able to get out here and put up a good fight. You understand what I'm saying? So in some form of fashion, you know what I'm saying, through Gye-Nyame, we are asking that you take care of yourself. I mean, I don't think that if anybody out there that thinks that's, that's inappropriate to ask people to do, go on, top it up. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, your story is valuable. Your story is part of the story that will move us from where we are as a group to where we need to be. Alright, so let me raise up this glass. Raise up a glass. We toast the creator by whatever name you choose to call that creator. And we toast that creator and we say, Ashe. From there, family, we move to our list of our ancestors. Illustrious ancestors. And, like I said, I want to thank everybody out there who participates on a daily basis, because some of y'all come in later, but I want to thank everybody who is adding to the list, because like I said, our tribe is growing, and I want to keep it growing, right? I want this to be an institution that we pass down with. Well, you got I remember, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Sister Navita. She told me, she asked her grandson, what is it called when we salute our ancestors? What's the process called? And the response was the daily toast. And and what's crazy is that it's small things like that when I'm frustrated, I have to go help pull me back to my story. You know what I'm saying? There's young people like that could recognize what's going on here, right? Even though he been around long, he know his libations, but just to say that, it's like boom. It's those little pieces, it's those little things that we hear oftentimes that can help pull us up out of a dark place. Because family, when I came home last night, I was in a dark place, sitting up here trying to get people to understand that, hey, I want to help you, right? I want to give you opportunity, and they can't see it, so they launch out to attack you or to attack others. You know what I'm saying? And for me, this is part of my regular existence. You know what I'm saying? It's like boom, you try to help, and it's like people is coming at you. You know, and like I said, I have to step back and remember whose story I'm in, because those people that's usually responding like that are not in their story. They're in the story that was written for them, that was composed by them, that's being directed by them, by a system that does not give a damn about them. But Brother Kwame say, speaking of grandson and all, we must let the young brothers know they have a presentation for Per Ankh in March. Give them a chance to prepare. Oh my God. Okay. Yes, the children are the future. But the one piece that we always got to wrestle with children, when we say children are the future, that means that we are the now, and if we don't handle our business in the now, guess what that means for the future? Like I say, our ancestors carved out space and time for us. Our ancestors carved out space. They carved out space and time for us. If we don't carve out space and time for our children, what does that mean for our future? But anyway, back to the toast. We lift up our glass. We toast the ancestors, and we call on Miles Brown, Ms. Ann, Robert Texas, Davis, Herman Brown, Senior, Rosalie, Tilly, Georgia, William Walter, Chris Pendergast, and Eileen, Uncle Chris. I'm Fiend, Cleveland, Geneva Brown, Margaret Ellis, Wash Ellis, Cecil Ellis, Alvaro Brown, Gina Gaines, Herman Brown II, Barbara Twiggs, Wash Ellis Jr., Katie Ellis, Nikki Ellis, Jamon Jones, Jeremiah Tappan, John Fallar, Montague Pimenel, No More X, Pet Mile, Rob Malika Fakor, Dr. Marianne Williams, Kojo Kamaya, Elder Millie Dixon, Tony Clark, Pastor Yusuf Weston, Elder Ajani, Elder Ron Coleman, Elder Robert Donaldson, Alfred Brofro, Hector Jr., Jay Edwards, Carlisle Harris, Grace Lundy, Inez Harris, William Bill Moss, Phyllis Rose, Sterling Lucy Wright, Dick L. Pulley, and the Luxter Brothers, Miss Edith Brooke Crawley, Miss Ree Nelson, Mr. Frederick Crawley Sr., Miss Jerry Brunson, Mr. Alonzo Johnson, Miss Marie McDowell, Janice Foster, Charles Jordan, Kel Smith, Walter Smith, Richard Triggs, Francis Johnson, Mary Franklin, Jimmy Williams, Daniel Ford, George Gibson, Anna Loretta Clark, Inez McCrae, Fritz Clark, Frankie Justice, Katie Justice, Derek Renham, Virginia Rogers, Reverend James Smith, Flores Henderson, Cameron Spratling, Mary Elizabeth Walker, Raymond Walker Sr., Sarah Jane Carter, Michael Ford Jr., Kellen D. Russell, Susie B. Smith, Teresa Clay, Dale Hodge Jr., Herman Copeland, Mitchell Copeland, Jenny Clayburg, B.D. Said, Welly, Vita Farmer, Goso Sue, Shell Harvey, Aunt Charmaine, Aunt Evelyn, Deolis Hasbury, Harvey Hasbury Sr., Linda Dickinson, T.C. Islam, Terrell Dunbar, Will Thomas, Sarah Berry, Mark Walsh, Merle B. Thornton, Pearl G. Thornton, Ida Johnson, Florence M. Carter, Joanne Thornton, Eric Tricia Lewis, Juanita Wright, Robert Wright, George Wright, Mary Eliza, Frederick Davis, Mary Elizabeth Rogers, Mary Esther Keechler Reese. Okay. I did that from memory. Linda Watson, Hammonds, Darrell Giles, Watson, Sparrow, Slimmy, Selva Lewis, Andrew Holmes, Pearl Moore, Percy Moore Jr., Major Owens, Booker T. Bowden, Charlie Hunt, Sammy Stover, Hader Pearson, Surgeon Thornton, Richard Thornton, Lavina Hall, Freeman Bankster, May Mossapia, Peacock, Willie Thornton, Napoleon Kennedy, Mark Ramsey, Paul Ramsey, Matt Ramsey, David Ramsey, Charles E. Thornton, Frankie Quells, Urania Thornton, Bernice Quells, Ernestine Jackson, Frankie Johnson, Teresa Mormon, Leon Johnson, Charles Bell, Vivian Ramsey, S.C. Johnson, Delrita Johnson, Leon Johnson, James W. West Sr., James Parham, Dana Jones, Henry Worlds, James Farmer, Mary Chavez, Leon Grace, Bessie Johnson, Henry Lester, Mary Moreland, Paul Moreland, Elder Keller, Rosemary Martineer, Don Mattel Wellman, Fred Douglas Triggs Sr., Thelma Triggs, Thomas and Lula Berry, Lacey Ellen Ohio, Frank Russell and Davis, Fred Douglas Triggs, the second Vina Triggs, Reverend Eddie Moore, Helen Fuller, Eugene Jackson Sr., Richard Ellis, Silas Alexander, Charles Maxwell, Percy May Alexander, Arthur Reynolds, Stanley Lockhart, Ricky Lockhart, William Lockhart, Woodrow Lockhart, Brenda Porter, Deacon Hargrove, Carlos Sawyer, Andrew Parker, Doris Donald, Ellis Murphy, D'Amico Russell, Dina Monares, Gina Ruth Jones, Jana Callahan. We have William Walter West, Nigel Perez, Elder Basiji, Filani, Jim Robinson, Gladys Johnson, Valerie Clark, John and Mary Sullivan, Dirk Johnson, Antonio Johnson, Lisa Waters, DePretis Hines, Ines Bostic, Edna Bostic, Winifred Scanner, Barry Wilson, Headley, Elma Hines, Phyllis Lee, Eugene Spratling, Kevin Spratling, Charles Wooden, Penny Brown, Roy Lee, Print Up Jr., Miriam Johnson, Will Belong, Maya, the Cadney, Janice Carter, Michael Carter, Leon Pena Carter, Michael Carter, William Carter, Lisa Jordan, Charles Lee Mosley, Dorothy R. Blair, Ransom Evans Sr., Sam Evans Sr., Naylon Blair, Sr., Edward Stevens, Sue Ann Stevens, Joe Davis, Timothy Butler, Gene Holmes, Dana Jones, Peter Charles, Christy Nichols, Cardinal Robinson, Rosemary Charles, Ada Pearl, Bob Ingalls, Jack Wallace, Warren M. Finch, Warren P. Finch, Tim Mingles, R.G. Finch, William Billings Lee Jr., Jennifer Sensabaugh, Hazel Gaston, Jerry Brownie, Brian Watson Jr., Kaniko Parsons, Jason Kathy Bradford, Thomas Bradley, also known as Uncle Bookie, also known as Gypsy. Oh, shouts out to Miss Cynthia Johnson. I needed to hear these words of power today. I'm always thankful for the daily toast to start my day. Thank you, and I am too. Cleve, why you look so down? You only going to school, my friend. Oh, you was free all day, and he was.
No, it was cold in my room last night.
Why don't you open the door, or something? You gotta find a way to combat that, sir. You got a problem. You need to learn how to solve it. I thought that's what education was supposed to teach our children, but obviously. Reverend Roosevelt Word the First, Stacey Trice, Frank Smith, Mother Bertha, Michael Leonard, David Brown, Ruth Carter, June Cox, Ruth Cox, Paula Cox, Ronald Urban, Judy Hubbard, Irene Johnson, Francis Booth Jefferson, Dan Wilkinson Sr., Emma McClendon, Jerry Dorr, Mina Robinson, Mary Nichols, Patricia Williams, Shabaka Teray, Greg G2 Gibson, Donna Hill, Richard Gleavis, Lee Irby, Tommy Irby, Boy Irby, Jim Gaucher, Georgia, and Hallie Johnson, Archie and Margaret Armstead, Diane Scott, Erica Armstrong, Claire Fox, Gene Evans, Archie Beck, Adam McGill, Charles McDaniel, Christine Cottrell, Becca Alice Arnold, Arthur Arnold, Hattie Reed, Charles Reed, Eulin Andrew Baker, Patricia and Edwin Brooks, Gwendolyn Bob Hatch, Kimball Vernon, Bradley Kim, Janie Harriet Tubman Case, Spencer Sturgis, Sally Mae Baker, Etta Baker, Creola Baker, Geneva Baker, Aaron Eno Baby Hatch, Hatch Sr., Melly Miller, Housie Hashtag, Cleveland, Mother Gibson, Alex Nixon, John Bowie, Lester and Rachel Saunders, Doretha Ross, Riola Ross, Robert Nelson, Francis Stevenson, Leroy Stokes, Needy Johnson, Fletcher Swan, Manny and Charlie Scott, Under Casey, Thomas Coper, Vivian Stevenson, Mona Ann Lewis, Cornetta Lyman Lewis, John Jackson, William Dallas Lewis, Mae France, Chappelle Jackson, Michael Slade, Joanne Perkins, Richard Jackson, Martha Ford Dawson, Big Mama, Nanny Harris, Eva Ford, James Harrison, Margaret Towns, Mary Williams, Leroy Q. He Sr., Albert Moore, Miss Vanilla, Albert Motley, Geraldine Elizabeth, Douglas Thompson, Elton Houston, Lud Alls, Elijah Alls, Jerome Alls, and West Staten, Joe Jamel Alls, and Pierce, Donald Carter, Lily Green, Nathan Green, Beth Vaughn, John Dewey, Ruth Beer, Tim Butler, Raimi Laura Newton, J.B. Foggy, Thomas Newton Sr., Baba Naeem, Jeanette Sanders, Jerry C. Sanders, Roy Pruitt, H.J. Bradley Sr., Henry Wilson, Rufus Jenkins, Minnie Wilson, Catherine Sanders, Mira Ellis, Elizabeth Sanders, Henrietta Irby, Mildred Armstead, Margaret Armstead, Captain Anthony, Ruth Brown, Charles Walker Sr., Charlie Walker, Cecil Russell, Diane Urban, Haroon Phillips, William Ford, Margaret Logan, Phyllis Barnett, Lee Urban Sr., Michael Urban, Ozella Watson, Yuka Watson, John Caldwell Sr., Robbie Lee Caldwell, Neville Mitchell, Ron McCormick Sr., Sabrina Easley, Bishan Easley, JaVale McCormick, Barbara Ann Reed, Dorothy Ann Reed, John Reed, Shekamaha Reed Jr., John Reed Jr., Patricia Reed, Edward R. Benson Sr., Ethel H., McNair, Louis Fernandez, Jacqueline Broaders, Reginald Oliver, Mazarin Coper, George Swan, Imani Grayson, Charles Scott, Charles H. Scott, Michael Morgan, Charlene Morgan, Sybil Edwards McNabb, Annie Ferguson, William Ferguson, Shelby McClendon. Let's move on. We have Joella Giles, James Carswell, Roberta Adams. We got Roberta Adams, also known as our sis. We got Elder Shaka McNair, Anthony Brown. We got Jonathan Ford, Lonnie Gaucher, Cousin Tony, Michael Johnson, James Jimmy Johnson, Barbara Shang Lewis, Ronald Sheldon Jr., Damian Todd, Westina Banks, Joseph Bingham, Quincy, Mama, Aunt Lady, Abraham Isaac Cundiff, Aunt Barbara Lewis, Renee Johnson, Joy, Ryan Ross Riggins, Dermonte, Marcus Price, Ness Words, Marshawn McCarroll, Demetrius Beard, Herb Jefferson, Ralph Mickens, Egg Walker, Quay Sample, Candace Simmons, Severin Clayton. Oh, Cleve. You gotta speak at the Per-Ankh in March. Okay. I'm glad he took it. Took that well. Okay. Leonard Jones, Sade Garner, Melvin Scott Sr., Elder Clarence Lumpkin. You ain't gonna be by yourself though. Elizabeth Johnson, Frank Smith, Stacey Trice, Denise Goray, Nathaniel Hassan Turner. Khalid is in transition. Nigel Turner, Demetrius Lewis Flynn, Alberta Woods, Geneva Simmons, Daniel Tilly, Angeline Gant, Sharifa, Oscar Kane, Audrey Gripper, Dominic Nichols, Ruth, Elaine Johnson, Teresa Sambu, Aunt Maxine, Uncle James, Henry Monger III, Tamara Dowdy, Nicole Harris, Julia Taylor, Richard Bozeman II, Ruth Carter, John Carter, Mr. Thornton, Johanna, Jashandra Lynette Lewis, Henderson Mosley, Charles Jordan, Henry Essex II, Fannie L. Webb, Dan Walton, LLT Sue Walton, Emma Walton, James Randolph Giles, Sonny Pete Walton, William Walton, Fred Powers, Elijah Juan Hakeem Nkomo, Alberta T. Davis, Charles Davis, Willie R. Mackey, also known as Dr. Creamy Mackey, Victor Bowden, Drusilla Kitty Berger, Lucy White, Robert Lee White, Imogene White, Talton, Roger White, R.L. White, Jesse White, Ruby Jewel White, Johnson Carl White, Desi Woods, T-Lara Woods Lennox, Jim Woods, Lizzie Woods, Juanita Alexander Brown, Cynthia Ann Wright, Richard Dorsey, Annie Simpson, Jamara Simpson, Regina Hopkins, Joseph Simpson, Nettie Dorsey, Eleanor Hopkins, Edward Webster, Alice Webster, Ivy Webster, Arnella Willis, Ethel Lane, Samanda Damon, Ethel Marshall, Steve Dougie Shelton, William Bill Walker, Carl Rico Johnson, Kim Gray, Stuart A. Johnson, Edward Young III, Isaac Jackson Sr., Drusilla Merle, Wayne Young, Christina Young, Thomas Young, Frank Merle, Sylvester Foster, James and Lizzie Winston, Abe and Julia Lawrence, Ozell Leathers Sr., Gladys Kofer, Ozell Leathers Jr. We raise our glass to all of our ancestors and we salute them and we say, Ashe, family from our past, our ancestors as we speak all the time have left us time and space in which we have to get busy. So we got to recognize where we are, when we are, why we are, right? Especially when we are in the now. We raise our glass up to this present moment. Right now, this moment is Ujamaa, and we want to give all the Ujamaa babies a round of applause. Shout out to Junior. I see you out there, brother. All right, where my Ujamaa babies? Any Ujamaa babies in the house? You know, because I know Sister Regina usually be on here in the morning. But maybe her sister stepping in for her, because I think your sister stepped in for you yesterday. So, I think she was here yesterday. But anyway, family, we gonna shout out all of those Ujamaa born. We are in the moment of Ujamaa, right? Right now, this day, I'm going to challenge you to activate your reticular formations. I'm gonna challenge you to open your eyes. I'm gonna challenge you to open your mind. I'm gonna challenge y'all, some of y'all that got my text number, to text me hashtag Ujamaa sometime during the day, because I'm gonna be working with a group of young people that I have to force myself, I have to remind myself to find my principles or I go off. You know what I'm saying? Text somebody today hashtag Ujamaa to remind us to find your principle. You understand what I'm saying? I gotta find that principle today, because I'm gonna need that principle today, right? And I ain't talking about the money. I'm talking about I'm gonna need the collective resources of our ancestors and my people, and those of you out there that inspire me to keep me from possibly saying something that will have me packing my boxes and moving to another location. You understand? Reminding each other. We need to start taking time to remind each other through some of our posts that our principles is out there. Our ancestors are out there. It's active. The energy has already been laid out for us. It's just a matter of us collectively pulling that energy in and moving in a powerful direction. Brother Junior says, where is it at? Thanks, God body. My days are getting stronger, bro. Ancestors are listening. Greetings, Derek Russell. All right, greetings, Brother Derek. I can't see him on here. Let me see if I could go over here. Okay. Brother Kwame say, albeit we ain't turning down any money though. We are in the midst of fundraising for the Malcolm X Festival. So in this moment, I'm gonna throw that out there. That jar, that that glass that look like my glass right here. Y'all see that on the screen? Oftentimes you might not see it. That's the tip jar. If you go to gnjmedia.live and go to the top, at the very top of the screen, you'll see tip. You'll be able to click that tip jar and go on and make a donation. Because like I said, we're raising funds for this because we want this Malcolm X Festival to be off the hook. We're gonna make it off the hook. Well, anyway, family, we are in the present moment. We're recognizing Ujamaa. I'm challenging you to turn on your reticular formations. Get out there. Find your principles. Remind other toasters that they need to find a principle, right? Because every now and then we all need a little encouragement, right? I need to be able to look at my phone and be like, damn. Take my breath. Drink my water. Move my body. Right? Raise my glass. Alright, but anyway, we lift up the glass to this present moment because in this moment is our power. This is the only place where we have power to make actual changes. We can't change things in the past. We can't change things in the future because it has not happened yet. The only place where we could make changes, the only place that we could actually utilize the power is right now, in the now. This eternal now that we are in. And family, I'm saying it's time for us to start embracing that power and start using that power and start moving it in for us rather than moving it for other people, because black folks have become very great and very innovative of helping other people grasp and harness the power of the moment. I'm saying now it's time for us to start doing it for ourselves. So for those that are new, Ujamaa means cooperative economics, right? So that's what we're looking for. And when we talk about economics, please understand we're moving beyond money. We're moving into the resources, right? Now, money, still part of it. Money is a resource. It's something that stands in place of these resources and allows us to exchange, right? But we still need to talk about those resources, right? So when I say today, I'm gonna need your resources. I'm gonna need your energy today, right? So today is Ujamaa, is cooperative economics. The meiotic principle that rests on this day is reciprocity. What we teach the young people is gratitude. The color is green. As you see by my shirt, I can't find my green long sleeve. You got my green long sleeve shirt? You got my green long sleeve shirt? I got on the color green. It's short sleeve. I had a long sleeve one. I just got it too. I gotta find my shirt. But anyway. How you know you ain't got my shirt? Alright. The color's green. The hermetic law of the day is polarity. Male name is Yao. Female name is Ya. We raise our glass to this present moment. We lift it up and we salute and we say, Ashe. From there, family, where do we go? We move to our future. We toast our children, our children's children, on to infinity. Even if they might got your green shirt that's long sleeve, we still gonna lift them up. We're gonna toast for them. And we're going to say, Ashe. All right, from there, family, we move to all of our relations. We raise up our glass and we say, Ashe. From all of our relations, we move to that selfish toast. This for you. What is it that you need in this moment to move towards the greater you? What is it that I need? Think about that. Ashe. Last but not least, but the most important, I want to toast the most magnificent, the most marvelous, the most uplifting, the most outstanding, the most spectacular, the bravest soul in the room. I raise my glass up to you. And you know what we say with that, family? Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Family, I wish you peace, power, joy in 100 years. I'm going to get out of here and find my green shirt. Get Clee ready so he can get to school. Sip on some pineapple ambrosia and live my best life. Live my best life. Live my best life. Y'all hear? She said she living her best life. Smartphone ain't so smart. Who said that? Junior. It really depends on who hands is in, Brother Junior. The smartphone, it really depends on who hands it is on how smart it is, right? But family, I want to toast you. And like I said, have a great day. Or as Brother Kwame say, make it a great day. It's yours to make. Remember, whose narrative you are living. Right? We raise our glass and we say, I'm out. We might be able to do a show tonight. Depends on how much energy I extend with these young folk today. But we still got to do day 90. I don't know, maybe we did it. I'm going to check back. But we finished the book. So what that means is that we may have to move into the African openings to the Tree of Life, which would be a good thing because I love that's my book. I love that book. All right, but family, this is Brother Hatem. I am out for the third time. Peace.
Yes.
Hey, Vicky.